This is a M41 Walker Bulldog tank. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out here at the back and then move my way around. This thing that I've got right in the center of the screen, that's actually one of the tail lights of the tank. That's a blackout drive tail light. It's painted over so you can't really see what they call the cat eyes in it. But the top, this piece here, was a brake light. And this one down here was the one that marked how well you could see. This one would have four little, looked kind of like if you took a Y, put it in there and then chopped it in half. There was two on this side, two on that side, that when they were together they formed a Y. Well, what it would do is, depending on how far behind this vehicle you were following it, you'd see only one of them, which meant you were too far away. You were more than 400 feet behind it. If you saw two of them, one on each side, then as you came into that range, you were between 400 and 150 feet, I think it was. Now, I'm trying to do this from memory, and I've been out of the Army for over 10 years. And then if you saw only one red light, then you were too close, and you needed to slow down a little bit. It was a way to keep a distance, even in the dark. And it's got the same light on this side over here. The one sad part, the light up here is missing, and that would have been a drive light, or a service drive as it's called in the Army. You can see up on the top where they would fill in fuel, oil. You can see the access panels with the handles on them that you could open to get inside and do engine maintenance. That is what's called a travel lock. That thing, it looks like a big strange bent arm with a round thing. And when they turn the tank around for like rail loading or hauling it on trucks, they could spin the turret and lock the gun tube into that travel lock so that it did not move while the tank was being hauled. And it says here this was restored by Doug Morris at Geo Chevrolet. So a Chevy dealer restored it. I would assume that means they painted it, because there's not much more you can do to restore an old hull of a tank. But still, I'm sure they donated that, and that was mighty nice of them. That gives the USA marker and the hopefully serial number of the tank. They would have also been bumper numbers on the front and back. They painted a white star on it, and depending on the era, might have had a white star, might have had a white star inside a circle. You can see on the top, if I raise you up a little bit, you can see the cupola hatch for the tank commander. You can see a little marker over to the right that is where they could look out for either the loader or gunner. I'm not really sure which. The driver's hatch down here at the bottom. Now, interesting thing about the lights, you have three sets on the front. This is your blackout drive light, which it would produce just enough light, kind of an ambient light on the road, to let you drive the tank and see a little bit. This one here, it's not exactly the right lens in it. They've just stuck a red lens in there, but it works. Let's look at the other one. It's got the correct lens in it. This is an actual blackout, or a infrared light. And what it is, it's a really super dark red lens. It's almost black. It's so dark. And there's a light bulb, just like this service drive light, behind it. But what it does, it puts out light that, using night vision goggles, it lights up the area like daytime, but with a naked eye, you see nothing. If you put your hand right in front of it when one of those are on, you can feel it. This is the blackout marker light, which is similar to the one I showed you on the back, only it's two little white lights that form a Y, just like I discussed at the back. And if you're closer than that 50 feet, you see only one light. Let's back up and get a view of the whole tank from the front. Okay, now you can see the M41 Walker Bulldog, the whole tank, just from the front end. Up at the end you can see a muzzle evacuator, which is that round thing, and you can also see the muzzle brake, which is basically, it would exhaust the gas from the explosive when the gun was fired to the left and right, so it lessened the recoil of the gun. And if you look on the right side of the, I guess you could say it's the plating area around where the gun tube stuck out, you can see a hole in there. That's where your 50 caliber machine gun could stick out, and that 50 caliber could then, or possibly 30, I'm not sure which one they use there, 30 or 50. Judging by the size of the hole, I'm guessing a 50. But either way, that was your coaxial machine gun. It allowed the tank gunner, as he swiveled the turret back and forth, to shoot at infantry that was trying to run around the tank, stick sticky bombs on it or anything else he was trying to do to blow it up. There's a metal covered area on the other side, and I'm pretty sure that's where the sighting mechanism for the gunner would be. Interesting thing that I noticed is the tracks on this tank are in pretty good shape. I mean the rubber part of the track, or the track shoes as they're called. Right here you can see them. They're worn down almost to the metal, but still, not too bad. And the road wheels are in actually really good shape. There's no missing chunks of rubber at all. And what's funny to me about that is all the time I spent in the Army hauling tanks around on heavy equipment trucks, many times the road wheels were chewed up on active Army tanks that were currently being used. So this display tank's actually in better shape track-wise than some modern day M1A2s. Drive sprocket on the rear. That's what made everything go. If you're not familiar with tanks, let me back up. Well, I can't really back up much without walking in the flower bed, so I won't. But the top rollers, the smaller ones, are called suspension rollers. The bottom ones are road wheels. And you can see the suspension arms that look kind of like shock absorbers. And then the drive sprocket in the back that I mentioned a minute ago, this in the front is the tensioner sprocket. And what they would do, depending on the type tank, some of them use grease to add tension, some of them use screwed out arms. Either way, once the track is on with an appropriate number of track shoes, which you can see all these different bolts, each one of those shoes can be taken apart separately. So if you took them shoes apart, put the right number together, and they come in sections. In fact, when I used to haul them in a truck for M60s, they come in about 3-foot sections. So you attach all them 3-foot sections together and you can build an entire track for the tank. But it has to have the exact right tension, or if you don't, you can imagine when you move one side of the drive sprocket or drive system to turn the tank left or right, and you put any tensions pushing sideways, the track would just roll right off if it didn't have the proper tension. I'll give you a quick look at the sign back here, if I can hold the camera still enough.